We haven't done an episode where it's just Spencer and I.
Correct.
And
I'm kind of scared to let you guys on your own, though.
we're just gonna argue. I feel like we're just gonna argue at each other.
It's
Like a married couple.
There's just gonna be solid lines of swears that I have to edit out.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
My grandmother started listening.
Oh no.
I told her, I warned her, I'm like, it's explicit, so explicit, we swear. And she's like, okay. She just loves me.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
I mean, your long legs are
Your
between
legs are
my
as long
nubs.
as my dick, so shut the fuck up.
Oh, shut up, Mr. Liar Pants.
I'm still implying micropeen, but you know.
Oh, you.
little corgi leg man.
Well, welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
Holy shit. Wow. You said it.
Got
Thanks,
it.
Dad.
First try. He's been practicing in the mirror every day.
I really have.
Since I roasted him so bad.
I couldn't handle the roast. I needed to have a comeback. It was my Vietnam.
Oh.
Ooh. That was a dark turn.
I mean, so is Nom. A little bit unnecessarily dark turn.
We're here for
Thanks,
comics, not
Dr.
politics.
Thanks, Dr. Manhattan.
Right?
So, back to Watchmen.
Speaking of big blue dongs.
Do we want to
Spencer.
get into the... Excuse me, that would be big blue balls. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Do we want to get into the news?
Yeah, go for it.
So we have an article from DCComics.com. While Future State offered a thrilling glimpse of the near and far futures of DC's heroes and villains, fans can't help but wonder what's next in the status of the current DC universe. That era started in a big way today with Infinite Frontier Zero, a 64-page one-shot from some of DC's most innovative creators, setting the stage for new storylines, surprises, and mysteries unfolding over this year and beyond. In Infinite Frontier number 0, when our heroes saved the DC multiverse from Perpetua in Dark Knight's death metal, everything was put back where it belonged, and we do mean everything. All the damage from all the crises were undone, and the heroes long thought gone returned from whatever exile they had been in, most of them at least. The story isn't over. Infinite Frontier 0 was just the beginning. Infinite Frontier... How many times am I going to say Infinite Frontier in this single article?
Infinite Frontier!
A new 6-issue miniseries by Joshua Williamson, and I have no idea how to pronounce the illustrator's name.
Zermanico.
Casey?
Thank you. That was probably right.
Tyrannic.
No. With covers by Mitch Gerrits, begins on June 22nd to further explore DC's rapidly expanding multiverse. In this summer event, Alan Scott, the Green Lantern from the JSA, has noticed some of his allies are still missing in action, and he's determined to find them. There are others, though, that would rather remain hidden than explain themselves, like Roy Harper, a.k.a. Arsenal, a man who should be dead, but now is not. Plus, what does all this mean for the DCU's place in the multiverse? On opposite sides of a dimensional divide, both Barry Allen and President Superman ponder this question, not to mention the dark side of it all, or a team of multiversal heroes called Justice Incarnate. End quote.
Breathe.
I don't like breathing. Breathing's
So,
overrated.
you abbreviated JSA, which is the Justice Society of America.
Society.
Society.
This is a new meme. We're bringing it back again.
This, to me, sounds like instead of a reboot, it's a great undo, which is kind of a different direction.
It's great fun doing.
I didn't want to just talk about it. Would feel kind of weird to talk about it in the review section because I can't talk about most of the individual parts of it, but I did read Infinite Frontier number 0.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of you guys are going to have at least some interest in what they're doing, and I think that is a very good way to put it. Just the whole all the crises are undone history, like it's all canon type stuff is very vague, and obviously this is how comics kind of work, but the point being a great undoing is probably the best way to put it. Like there's still a handful of things out of place, but basically everything is quote unquote where it belongs again,
right.
because
That's what they said.
Yeah, like that just compared to any other, it's not a reboot, it's not even a reset. It's like, normally you would have a New 52 or a Rebirth or whatever, where it's a pseudo reboot or like a hard line, a soft line or whatever.
Right.
It's just this period has a name. There is no line there, and then it removes all the lines from the other periods. And it's such a weird, like, until you read all this stuff, it's not going to really make total sense. But I do think the miniseries is an interesting idea because it was kind of set up in the 0 issue. I will read this because it's a miniseries. I'll actually buy it as it comes out.
Huh, all right.
ComicCon.org. As you may be aware, due to concern for public health and safety, San Diego Comic Convention had to cancel both of its in-person events in 2020 and recently announced that I believe that would be their.
No, this is from their website, so it's them speaking yeah.
Well, they say had to cancel both of its in-person, and now it's suddenly our spring show.
Okay, that is weird, actually. Some editor didn't get that.
Anyway, and recently announced that the spring 2021 show WonderCon in Anaheim will also be canceled. Shocker.
Shocker.
In its place, WonderCon at Home, with an @ symbol.
Because we're hip.
Yeah. Will once again be held as a free online event on March 26th and 27th of this very year of our Lord, 2021.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It is the policy of the organization to continue to closely monitor information from local and national healthcare officials as it pertains to the COVID-19 pandemic. Never could we have imagined what the world experienced in 2020 and continues to experience today while we are buoyed by the rollout of the vaccine and the growing number of individuals being inoculated and indoctrinated. Oof!
Oh!
It appears that July will still be too early to safely hold an in-person event of the magnitude of Comic-Con.
Magnitude!
For this reason, we have made the challenging decision to postpone Comic-Con 2021 as an in-person gathering until our 2022 dates, and once again hold this year's celebration as the free Comic-Con at Home. Unfortunately, the challenges of this past year and the multiple postponements of our two largest events have left us with huge debt. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Limited financial resources.
Oh.
So this year, the online experience will be reduced to a 3-day event spanning July 23rd, 24th, and 25th of our very Lord, 2021. This year.
Nice.
Thank you.
As the mic just shattered because you smacked your phone down. You're going to be the one getting rid of that, so that works.
Nope.
This is not surprising in the slightest.
No.
Colin.
This is hardly news.
No.
I don't give a
Next point, Colin.
To be fair, though,
To be fair,
this gives us
Content.
access
Yes.
that we normally wouldn't have because we are not anywhere near California.
This is true.
So, if we don't have our lives to live for those dates, we might actually be able to pay attention to Comic-Con.
Perhaps.
I think we can do what we did with Fandom again.
I think you mean what you did with Fandom.
Yes.
what you did.
I tried to do that with Comic-Con this year, but there was just so little because Disney has pretty much like pulled out of it entirely.
Right.
And they didn't have a D23 this year. I mean, 2020. So, you know. Woo. Colin. There's another thing. You want to say the thing?
From CBR.com, Supergirl will headline a new DC maxi series with...
It's kind of like MaxiPad, but different.
You stole my line.
Understandable. DC maxi series with Crypto and a new vengeful sidekick in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, by writer Tom King and artist Bilquis Evely and Matt Lopes. I know I said Lopez. I said the last one I didn't do right. Equal rights, equal fights. Anyway, Kara Zor-El has seen... Kara Zor-El has seen some epic adventures over the years, but has recently found her life without meaning or purpose. Here she is, a young woman who saw her planet destroyed and was sent to Earth to protect a baby cousin who ended up not needing her. What was it all for? Wherever she goes, people only see her through the lens of Superman's fame. Just when Supergirl thinks she had enough, everything changes. An alien girl seeks her out for a vicious mission. Her world has been destroyed, and the bad guys responsible are still out there. She wants revenge, and if Supergirl doesn't help her, she'll do it herself, whatever the cost.
I'll do it myself.
Now, a Kryptonian, a dog, and an angry, heartbroken child head out into space on a journey that will shake them to their very core.
Bah, bah, bah!
Angsty pieces of shit.
I like how cheese this sounds.
Right.
Like the descriptive terms they're using. I like how we're still not 100,
But cheese.
I just enjoy the fact that even in the own official synopsis, it's like, yeah, it's still a comic book. I don't know. I like hearing goofy things.
This sounds
Terrible.
yeah. I was going to try to say it nicely, but yeah, this sounds awful.
No, them.
Okay. Superman and Lois has been renewed for a second season at the CW after the extremely large premiere of the first episode, which I did watch. And it was a banger. Like
It looks like it.
I was really impressed. It's not like they had a couple of good scenes. Like the whole thing is taken. Taken seriously sounds so lame, but like it has quality to it. It's very different. I like it.
It leaped over buildings in a single bound.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was not actually like surprised, or I didn't care about when you told me that they were gonna make that. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just TV Superman, because he looked like shit and everything else I saw him.
Yeah,
as
he was
Superman.
a bit rough in Supergirl. Like I liked the performance, but the costuming and the chemistry was always kind of weird.
But now the new costume,
the couple of new costumes, and they're visually like.
Thanks, my mom made it. I love that.
Giga Chad.
Giga Chad.
From Marvel.com, in honor of the iconic hero's 80th anniversary, these 4 heroes who have taken up the mantle of Captain America will team up this June in a brand new limited series, The United States of Captain America. That is the corniest title, and I love it. Written by Christopher Cantwell of Iron Man, with art by Dale Eaglesham from Fantastic Four. The United States of Captain America. We have to find like a cheesy noise for someone just a complete cornball. We got to find something for that.
Get off me cheese! Get off! More cheese, penguin, eh?
More work for you. The United States of Captain America will celebrate the character's incredible legacy by bringing together various Captains America from throughout the years for a grand adventure to find Captain America's missing shield and solve the mystery of the masked thief's plan. The incredible saga kicks off when Captain America's shield is stolen. No one understands the value of the shield like those who have wielded it, so Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson set out on a road trip across America to chase down the thief, but instead they find the captains, everyday people from all walks of life who have taken up the mantle of Captain America to defend their communities. I'm being very dyslexic, my apologies. And for some reason, the shield thief wants them all dead. Can Sam and Steve get to them first? Ooh.
This sounds...
What is the name of the series again?
The United States of Captain America.
This sounds like...
road trip movie.
The adventure... The quest for the Golden Fleece.
Mormons?
I'm pretty interested. I saw this morning. I was like, oh, geez, how did I miss that? Yes.
Dummy thick. I'm so bored of Captain America. I'm so sick of it.
Well,
I
that
think
sucks
you're
for you,
boring.
because we're about to go into Winter Soldier and
That's
Falcon.
That's not Captain America, though.
No. They're taking up the helm.
Well, yeah, but it's not Captain... Okay, so when you think of Batman, who do you think of? Bruce Wayne, right? Normally? When you think about Captain America, I think of Steve Rogers.
I mean, Batman, you also have Terry McGinnis.
That's different. That's Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Even though there's...
The first word of that was...
Yes,
Batman.
But Batman Beyond, it's different. There's difference in it. I'm sick of hearing anything about Steve Rogers, Captain America. So the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is quite different. They're different characters from Steve Rogers.
Steve. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy this so hard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So hard.
Quite. So do we want to jump into the main topic, or do we want to jump into WandaVision first?
Main topic type?
Okay, it's time for us to kill ourselves with Suicide Squad, which is a 2016 American superhero film based on the DC Comics supervillain team of the same name. The third installment of the DC Extended Universe was written and directed by David Ayer. Holy shit, can we talk about how shit this thing is? This is going to be a big shit posting session.
I couldn't get through half of it.
That is where I got hung up as well, and I forced myself to finish it today. It's...
My biggest beef with it is that I remember watching the trailers, and there was so much Joker, and the scenes that I saw of Joker weren't in Suicide Squad. No, I think it should have had more Joker. No, Joker.
I hate this Joker so much.
This Joker has way more potential than...
Potential?
Yeah, and they ruined that for him. He should have been the main villain for the Suicide Squad movie. It shouldn't even have been about this like mystical shit. It should have just been Joker being the main villain.
But she's sexy and she dances.
She's not that sexy.
No, not really.
I
She's
like
gross
the
looking to me.
Enchantress effects though. They make her spook.
That
was
Okay,
one of the,
I guess.
I will definitely agree with that. Was especially the hand on the table, like the hand.
Yes!
that is still freaking sick.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So some of the effects were cool, obviously, but I'm saying, besides things looking cool and some characters being cool, because my favorite character from this movie is Killer Croc.
I thought you were gonna say Harley Quinn. Okay.
No, I hate Harley Quinn.
Hot
No, I've said this like a million times on the podcast. I don't like Harley Quinn, except for the animated series Harley Quinn, and I kind of like the Harley Quinn from a Harley Quinn show. Any other version of Harley Quinn, she annoys the shit out of me. I just didn't like anything about this Harley Quinn, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a good Harley Quinn. Because if you make me not like Harley Quinn, then it's probably a good Harley Quinn.
He's got a point.
Kind of. That's what I was saying
Depends on the
about
context.
Amanda Waller too.
Yeah, she's not supposed to be
Like,
liked.
you
Well, no.
absolutely hate that character.
Oh, yes.
But is it because she's played poorly?
No,
Not really.
no. Viola Davis is a freaking like insanely good actress.
No, I thought she was
No, I
good.
get
I
that.
thought she was good.
I actually think most of the performances in this were really, really good for having a
Script.
really bad script.
Yes,
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Like even
Will Smith definitely.
He killed it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Killer Croc. I know I already said it, but like
I'm
just
actually
how Killer
with you
Croc.
on that. It's
His effects look weird though. Like
you don't like the prosthetics?
he looks thick from like the shoulders up, and then from the rest down, he's kind of skinny.
Mike
And
Mignola.
I think it's
Oh, yeah.
just
They're like
because the
trying to hide it with a sweatshirt or hoodie or whatever.
I think it's just because the head is so big because they wanted to do
'cause
the
the-
prosthetics
yeah.
instead of making him like a
CG
big
monster,
right.
Right.
It's just
It's-
more.
It just looks weird.
To me, it looks like since like all of the shoulder and like the head was bigger, it felt to me that his powers were more like animal, like where his jaw. It was about like he could probably bite a skull like and squish the shit out of you with just his jaw. That's what it looked like to me, like a crocodile.
That's Colin's kink.
I wasn't gonna go there, but I thought
Yeah,
about
bite
it.
my ass, daddy.
Oh boy. Yeah. So
We
Every-
should summarize the story real quick.
okay, that I can do. We have bad guys. They're bad. They're Batman bad guys mostly. They're bad. Have they said that they're bad guys yet? Because they've said that a few times in the movie. Don't forget, they're the bad guys. They get picked up by Amanda Waller, who's big government lady, who's a bitch.
Another bad guy.
She's very bad.
Very
and
bad.
decides to put together a task force. I mean, which is fine. In the wake of Superman being dead and being like, hey, if there are more metahumans and stuff, we should probably have backup and things. So we're gonna use really bad criminal people because that's a smart idea. And then they get recruited to go save the world because one of the original members kinda is actually a supervillain. Like, actually has powers, unlike basically the rest of the squad. Mm-hmm. So they have to go in the middle of the city and destroy the Skybeam. That's, I think, the best summary you're going to get.
Yes, it is.
Yes, pretty much.
Oh, and we got a couple of Batman parts which were good.
I mean, yes.
They're always
Because, yes. Yeah. Every time, I think because, so, something that we have alluded to, I watched this with Jacob when it came out, and I was dumb. And in shock and in denial, and I said I liked it. And then 2 days later, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is horrible."
Yeah.
Because I was really, really hyped for it, and I lost my mind.
great. Yeah, I was super hyped for it too. I was actually really excited.
Yeah,
Especially seeing like some of the some of the like spotlights, TV spots, or
Yeah.
and some just photos and.
yeah. I was more interested in the beginning of the marketing cycle before it got taken over by the Queen, and more Queen and more cotton candy. Yeah, but like
It wasn't even the actual Queen song. I'm pretty sure it was Panic at the Disco doing a cover.
Yeah, that's the weird part is they paid so much in terms of licensing.
Skrillex
these
was in that
songs.
soundtrack too.
See, that's the thing is I
a
actually
whole bunch of
really like
people.
that song. I just hate Rick Ross. Like that part is so bad. But
I
the
liked the
actual
music video.
The Skrillex
with
track
Joker.
is pretty good, but just remove Rick Ross entirely because he's
Okay, so
garbage.
Skrillex isn't actually that bad. I just think he's cringe. And
Oh,
I have to
it's
say he's cringe because I enjoy some of his stuff.
Yes, that was me in middle school and me on some bad days. It's great.
Also, they played Fortunate Son, and it wasn't a Vietnam helicopter scene, and I was very confused.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, so do we want to go over the whole how this thing came out like this real quick, or do we not care?
Go for it.
You have it.
It's gonna end with release the Ayer cut. I know it.
Thank you for saying it for me. Yeah,
Release the Ayer cut.
Ayer.
Ayer.
You're dumb. You're fucking dumb.
Ayer.
Anyways, basically, the script was written over. It was between 4 and 6 weeks. It was like a super fast script that they wanted to get out the door. David Ayer wrote it himself and was like, "Okay, we can do this." And then halfway through production, the big surprise, DC's studio heads start interfering with the directors and writers. So he was made to do a lot of reshoots, and then at the same time he was editing together the movie that he was trying to make. They hired a company that made a lot of the trailers after the initial the Comic-Con first peak when it actually looked serious. Everything after that was done by them. So they had 2 competing cuts of the movie, basically, using very different types of footage and editing techniques, to say the least. And then they did test audiences, and then because test audiences is exactly how you should be doing these things, clearly. And then the studio said, "Hey, you can go f*** yourself. We're going to go with these guys, and they're going to chop your movie up, and they're going to finish it." So that happened. So now the whole thing's a giant music video where you can clearly see how much shit got ripped out.
Oh, and 21 Pilots was on that soundtrack, too. I was actually excited
That was
for
a
that.
really good track.
I was excited for that, and then they just used it for the credits.
And only like half of a chorus. It was rough. See, that's the thing is like because the original the ear version of the movie didn't have any of that. That was the studio's idea when they started rolling out the marketing. They're like, "Oh, we should use pop music." So then that changed how the whole thing was formatted.
Yeah.
So there is a similar situation to what happened with Justice League to I would say a lesser extent. But it is a nearly completed movie that has a lot less money. It would need to be finished and needs a lot less time. That's been confirmed by the editing team and the director and blah 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 blah.
Ayer cut?
Yeah, for the movie we're supposed to get. Yeah. So
do you think we're gonna actually get that since we're getting this? We're getting the
I
Suicide
think it's
Squad?
entirely dependent because James Gunn has said he would like to see it. So that always counts for a lot because he's talked to David Ayer a good bit. It's not a direct sequel, but
dude, he's a bro.
Yeah, James Gunn is the bro.
He's such a bro.
Yeah, so they get along. He's mentioned he's like, "Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd actually like to see it and stuff." They had conversations previous. That'd be cool. I think that is entirely dependent upon how Justice League does money
Now
wise.
hear me out. Mm-hmm. You get Zach Daddy's version.
Yeah.
On DVD.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it on the 4K Super Pack.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
With a bonus disc.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
Of the Ayer cut. Or a digital download of the Ayer cut or something. It's a little cherry on top of the ultimate freaking edition of...
See, that would be ideal, but I think they would want to make money.
I think that is probably a thing is they would do it separately.
The 4K ultimate $80 box set.
I'm sure they would come in a dual pack at some point, but they would definitely come. But I'm pretty confident they would release it separately for the sake of money and stuff. Oh boy. But yeah, so the thing I think that completely and utterly wrecked this is clearly the editing. The script is really rough at best. You can't deny that. But when you chop the shit out of it, you could just count, say 5 seconds. How many cuts are in those 5 seconds in an action scene? It's so incoherent.
Said that the other day, and I hadn't even noticed it. And then after you said it, you completely ruined it. I had to stop looking at it as I'm freaking watching it.
Oh, because I ruined this movie by mentioning how shit it is.
Well, it was already shit. And then you pointed out another annoying
It just made us
factor.
realize how shit it is. You just ruined his life for the second time.
In 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right after you exposed what's-her-face for her nose.
No,
that was you
me.
to him!
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you deserve that.
He does.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but I think that is the it screws with like the structure of the movie because the whole first there's like multiple introductions to the same characters over and over again because it's structured so not chronological but not well placed flashback. It's just nonsense.
I liked Captain Boomerang.
I did as well.
I think the actor was pretty good, and also I love the Flash scene. I just love that.
That was a good scene.
Anything with that Flash.
That was directed on the set of Justice League. Anyway, nobody cares about that.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nobody
that's
cares
cool.
about that.
I care. Hey,
I
hey,
care.
hold on.
What?
I care.
Shut the f*** up. Don't pander to me.
You love it.
I did want to say that I've listened to the actual musical score by I believe it's Steven Price.
What's new?
No, it's Stephen Price. Anyway, I thought it was really good, and apparently there's more of it that was not just covered up with pop music every 3 seconds. Every two, like you get half a chorus in new music, new music. Like it is literally like watching a music video the whole time until the end, and then the end is just nonsense.
Nonsense.
I did have the idea of introducing Slipknot as like. There's part of me that understands, introduce him as a lull, because he's always the one that dies, and it's evident because he doesn't get any screen time until basically he's dying anyway. But it's such a waste of, like, time and, like, effort for that, like, one joke that I thought was pretty dumb. Like, that was something that should have been caught in the writing process on, like, a second draft, which apparently this movie got, like, one draft, which would make all the sense in the world, because half this dialogue feels like placeholder dialogue. Enchantress gets worse every time I watch this thing. Like there's the two things that are cool. I like the idea of the dynamic between her and
Moon. Dr. Moon.
Yeah, her and Moon, and then Rick Flag. I think that I do really like the fact that I would say it's one of the only things that isn't entirely wrecked by this weird movie being itself. Like
he wasn't bad.
Like I actually quite liked him, but like the fact that he is just as interlinked with the squad, like he's also being held captive and just in a different way. I really like that idea, so that was cool. But just every time I see Enchantress, it's like, this is nonsense. And in the early, like the first draft of this, which was never gonna get shot, it was her, she was like doing Steppenwolf's bidding, and they were actually parademons instead of weird eye creature things. So that would have been better. Like just
that would have been way better.
That would have made more sense.
Yep.
They worship the phones, so I make big sky beam. It's so dumb. Something I kind of noticed because I was paying a lot of attention to Joker on this particular thing. It's grown on me.
Yeah.
But
that's only because he's included in the Snyder Cut.
Shut up, maybe. He's easy
Joker.
to dunk on for obvious reasons. Like nobody's gonna deny that. But I think something that when I was paying attention to was I'm a big proponent of the grills. I actually think the grills are a good idea.
Yeah, me too. It makes sense.
They really screwed with his upper lip, though, because of listening to it. And, like, sometimes he has random bits of dialogue that feel like Jim Carrey. But consistently, it's just enough of a lisp. And, like, it sounds like his upper lip is stiff when he's talking. And you can see it doesn't move enough. So I don't know if that was, like, a problem with the makeup and the prosthetics that might have interfered with the performance. Or if that was intentional. I don't know which one it was. It was just something I noticed I didn't notice before. I'm like, you sound like you're only moving your jaw instead of your whole face.
Honestly, I think most people are only annoyed by this Joker because of the laugh. And also,
I actually kind of like the laugh.
So hear me out for a minute. I think most people's opinions on this doesn't really make sense because I feel like they are going off of, we have 2 Jokers beforehand that were pretty good. And everyone seems to love Heath Ledger a lot more, but they aren't taking into consideration that was just like a That World version of Joker, where that one makes sense. It's an anarchist. This one's supposed to be like our psychopath, I
mean, yes, but you can't, like, there's only so far you can go of, well, you just didn't get it. Like, I'm a big proponent of these things. Clearly, I'm the pretentious douchebag that's like, no, you just didn't get the movie. But if you communicate it that poorly, like you still have to account for the fact that people's perceptions are still context based. Like you can't, make Joker and then go, nobody's gonna compare this to Heath Ledger's Joker. nobody's going to compare this to The Dark Knight at all because that's just not how it's going to work. They have a lot of similarities visually, character-wise, whatever. So, like, you have to take that into perspective when writing, shooting, performing, whatever the like, it sucks that you can't just do it in a vacuum, but it's just the way that it is,
So
sadly.
this character still had psychotic motives, but I don't like the artistic design and the
Yes.
I don't like Pimp Joker.
I think basically
So,
everybody
okay,
agrees on
His
that for the most
actions
part.
can still be psycho, but he doesn't have to be dressed up and behaving.
Yeah.
I said behaving. Like,
the inspiration that the David Ayer said specifically is like, yeah, so I saw all these like pimped out drug lords on Instagram, and I was like, that's an idea, and that's what he ran with. Which I 100% I agree that that's not exactly the best place to start.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of okay with that because thinking about the
way.
Joker, that comic, the one that comes before Batman Damned, that Joker is very much pimp. He's very much pimp.
Not
Not
like,
like
that,
this,
not
though.
the very
Okay,
different.
no, but like think about just have that in context.
he's
just
more
think about
mob lord than pimp.
he's mob lord, but he definitely has that like weird creepiness to him about being a like pimp.
That one, he's
I-
smart and psychotic.
Yeah, see
this
that's
one
that
is
we're
just,
not. I don't think Jacob's talking about.
he's just crazy.
It's because he's like planning or thinking. It's the fact that he acts like a tweaked out 12-year-old.
Okay, yeah.
That's the annoying part. The one thing I think that bothered me even more with that is because you can see how much of like that him and Harley's relationship got edited to look a lot nicer than it was
Yep.
intended to be. Like it was very in the script there's been a lot of it that's been leaked as well. Like it was intentionally supposed to be this is a very abusive like BDSM extrapolated into the real world type creepy abusive nonsense. Like there was a plan for that. Like like the end of the movie wasn't her being like, oh my gosh, I get to go back to my boyfriend. It was her getting kidnapped. Like it's clearly been chopped and screwed. It gives me weird vibes. I do like the weird fan theory that Harley was pregnant during this movie, which seems like it comes out of nowhere. But if you look at, so there's set photos of, when Joker lines up all his knives in the weird little knife circle.
the
there are baby
babies,
clothes, which you
his
could
baby
just be
clothes.
like, well, Joker just killed some kids, whatever which is probably true. You could, but if you use that and then her extremely out of character reaction to how El Diablo was when he was talking, like, out of everybody, she's the most like, it doesn't matter, do whatever the whatever. Like, but then she's like, no, you killed kids, you like she got so butthurt over that, which is understandable. But for her at that point, it feels out of character.
Yeah.
And then you have her vision at the end.
Right, like that
All
is
the
her
family.
and then that's her dream is to have. So that could just be entirely conjecture. But I think that that's an interesting idea.
No, I've heard about that from like I remember hearing that like years
Years
back.
ago.
Yeah, years ago. No, I'm okay with that. I like that idea.
But I as a whole, I think I enjoyed it more this time around than I ever have, but mostly because I was just going, screw it, this is nonsense.
I was on the exact opposite side. Was like, how did I sit through this the first time? This is so much worse than I remembered it.
Yeah.
I think most of our DC problems are that they're trying to make stories either in the middle or at the ends of characters' arcs rather than giving them origins, because everyone's like, not another origin story, because we got a Superman origin.
That's the weird thing, because everybody's like, no, you can't show the Waynes getting killed again, but then when you don't and you're in the middle of an arc, people are like, but why is Batman old and angry? You get the same,
Yeah.
It's just stupid people.
I want to watch BVS now.
I always
Just
wanna
to
watch
just to
BVS.
get that,
Welcome to the club.
Just to get the taste of this movie out of my mouth.
Do you want the membership card? Because we do have those.
Membership card.
Yeah, we have the BVS fan club membership card.
What?
Yes, you want one?
Yeah,
I can get you one.
give me one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't plan on watching this unless I'm like dying. Because then
Alright.
maybe it'd be funny if you're like, you got that like flu high where you're just chilling.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're like,
Yeah.
I could enjoy this.
All right.
Or you're like stranded on an island and you've got
Yeah,
this movie and The Wizard of Oz.
oof, that's a weird combo.
Thank you.
Speaking of the Wizard of Oz, how about we talk about WandaVision?
Very smooth transition.
Thank you,
Nice.
Dad. So I totally forgot that the episode came out yesterday, and so I was sitting there all day, and I was like, I feel like I need to be watching something, and then I realized, oh shit, the White Man. I had to watch it. And
So, connect the thought with Wizard of Oz.
so Agatha, when they were fighting, when Agatha and Wanda were fighting, Wanda threw a car at her and she smashed into a house and she looked for her and she saw her boots and then there's no one there but her boots.
That was really funny.
I loved
Underneath
that.
the car,
Yeah.
sticking out. It looked just like the boots sticking out from underneath the house.
Yeah.
That was really good. I found that quite funny. I was actually really impressed with the witch battle. Like,
Yeah.
it was a lot of, flying around, clearly strings and CGI, but like in terms of like impact of, magic ball of hurt.
Wanda
was
has a
kind of-
pretty good memory
Yes.
because remembering those runes.
Yeah, I like how well set up that was, as with previous. Because if you compare, this to like the Doctor Strange wizard battles, you have like the different sects of the magical areas, and it's so drastically different in terms of visually, and I really think that's pretty cool. It's you have them flying around and shooting big red ball of cloud. But like it actually felt like it was doing something, which is not normal for a lot of that sort of stuff, and especially the way that the MCU does it a lot.
Speaking of sex, it was confirmed that Paul Bettany was teasing and talking about playing with himself. Yes, it was intentionally worded that way. Screw you for wording it so well and playing us, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I was watching some interviews about him, and he's like, "Yeah, well, I thought it was a joke. I thought it would be funny, and then I realized it wasn't. And I forgot who my fan base was." And he's just great. But talking about the two visions,
That was the way more interesting part. Was just partially just the two androids beating the crap out of each other, but then just philosophical conversation about boat.
yes,
Right
no, I
in
loved
the middle
that.
of an epic showdown.
That was
It was
great.
very well done.
Have you heard of the ship of Theseus?
That was part of me was
I was like, damn.
hope. It gave me more hope of the overall direction of being a little bit less big boom. We don't need like a thematic conclusion. We just need a big epic physical conclusion. I was like, hey, we're having resolution of actual emotional conflict and theme. Yay! I am Vision the White, or Vision as he should have been. So that was pretty cool. I like how good that looked. Like the white one with the blue accents. Oof.
It looks so nice. But that also brings us back to the blue, Mind Stone being originally blue, then turning to yellow, and now it's blue again. But it's not the Mind Stone.
I like that. I also like the fact that it seems to be pretty much confirmed that he, because of the conversation they had, and Vision touching Vision and being like, mind meld. I'm pretty confident that we were kind of all wrong and right about how this was going to end, because they didn't exactly merge, but they kind of merged.
He gave him memories.
And Hexavision did die, but they didn't end up as a couple again because she doesn't even know that the White One's alive.
Yeah, so eventually they might.
Vision touching Vision.
Yeah.
Also, what happened to the White Vision?
He ran away.
Yeah,
and
he ran
I'm
I
actually
missed that part.
wondering where that's going to turn up. I'm assuming it would probably be in Doctor Strange, but like out of all the movies and the other projects, I don't know where it would make the most amount of sense for him to show up. But I did, in terms of the
I feel like
overall...
him having his own show.
Dude, that'd be sick. Can we just have Vision reading philosophy? I'll pay for it.
I think it would make sense because if people are asking for WandaVision, it's just Vision.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool for a season 2 if they did that. But if he had his own show, that would probably make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, who knows? I'd like how the ending was tied up mostly neatly. Like, clearly it's very different than how it started, but there are lots of things hanging up. Like, there are other threads. But if you go from I believe it was probably Kevin Feige saying we can't expect everybody in the general population to watch all the shows, even though the shows are almost as relevant as the movies. So you have to assume that your movie still has to be made in a way that doesn't rely on the show. So if you go, Wanda ends up in a similar place to where she was at the end of Endgame. Most of this had no consequence. It put herself in a different emotional place and with more powers and whatever other nonsense happened, but she still doesn't have a vision. Westview is restored, and she's just chilling by herself, which is what you would assume she was doing at the end of Endgame. So it makes it easier for normies to get, and I kind of like that.
Kind of, but we have the new suit and people are gonna get hung up on that
Yeah,
because it looks so good.
dude,
No, I
that
don't-
suit
okay.
is so good.
No, I don't think people are going to really care about the new suit. We're talking about Wanda's suit, right?
Yes.
Okay, but they change suits all the time in
so
the movies,
good.
in between movies. It doesn't matter if they change suits.
Did
He's
they
also
really
right.
though?
I mean, yeah.
Like
Yes.
Iron Man changes all the time, but
Captain America?
that's explained.
Captain
because-
America
I mean,
had
they
like
all-
5 suits.
They all usually have. I mean, Wanda hasn't changed a whole lot, but everybody else has changed pretty radically.
Wanda went from a hoodie to a kind of hoodie dress to a kind of like
corset.
corset.
It's a corset.
Yeah, corset. And,
To a corset and a hoodie.
and then a hoodie. Yeah,
And then sweatpants and a hoodie.
yeah. I love her new outfits.
Dude,
Awesome.
it's so... I love that shade of
I'm
red.
so glad
It's
she has
the
the tiara.
tiara. There you go. I'm impressed with like the color choice. Like, it's still very red, but it doesn't feel like...
It's very much like
But
very much like Magneto colors.
It's kind of like
Exactly.
Magneto red. And it's not like
And
dark leather red. You can barely tell it's red. Like, it's still very clearly
No,
red.
yeah,
the
it's definitely
detail
like a
to it also feels very X-Man-y.
Yes.
yeah. It's like a reddish purple.
It looks like the tiara was literally like an actual piece of leather made for her head and then actually like had detail work put into it.
yeah, no, it had quite a
looks
bit of
so
detail.
good.
I do love their attention to detail recently about costumes. Like Vision looks so nice. I wonder if they're gonna give him color again because
Probably.
they probably are because that's what they did in the comics and also the color just looks better. I hope they go with adding more green to him.
Really?
Yeah, because I like so the 2015 Vision, that's actually my favorite Vision suit. And I found out, and I didn't realize this, but Vision is actually my favorite Marvel character in the movies so far. And
Dang.
and that started when he appeared in the second Avengers, or he was born in the second Avengers.
Big red dong.
It's
Yes.
It's not Batroc.
Say that
Don't
again.
smack talk my Batroc the Leaper.
It's not Howard the Duck. I mean,
Oh
come
my
on.
word.
What kind of comic book reader are you?
Shut up.
We will be discussing Howard the Duck sometime in 2021.
Yes! I
course
think
we
I
are.
prefer that one over Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fight me.
probably.
But
the,
just
the
Vision's
bird
great.
does the lady, so it's
know.
gonna be fun.
I firmly
Nice.
believe that is where the expression
Well-
duck comes from.
Probably.
Fuck it up.
So
Makes
rest in
sense.
peace the children. Like I thought that they might go with some form of a she's gonna find a way to not have to keep them inside the hex. Something
I
maybe
feel like
similar to
she's-
Vision. I like the fact that she was able to let go.
Yeah.
Like actually let
She's
go. Like
growing.
clearly she still has. There's other stuff going on in that.
She
head of
might
hers.
be trying to figure out while looking through
Probably.
the book.
Probably. So do we want to talk about those two post-credit scenes?
I don't
Because
care about
one
the
of-
first one.
The first one is just set up for the Nick Fury. I think they are calling it Secret Invasion. I believe we did discuss that. The Secret Invasion show.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And that's going to be setting up other Captain Marvel properties, which is cool. Whatever. That's the first one. The second one, you have Wanda making tea in like a cabin in the middle of nowhere.
Cottagecore.
But then also Wanda reading a book. Do you guys have a thought on how that is? Because I thought it was astral projecting, but it clearly isn't, because it has none of the astral projection like physical representation of what it does in the MCU, and also she's physically interacting with things in both instances. So what the f*** is going on with that?
I think she's just the most thing that would make the most sense is that they just did it just because it looks cool, which happens in most things. Because the thing doesn't make sense. Why is she making tea? Why is she just not enjoying herself? But then you see her in full costume reading up on that.
Well, I mean, the costume is because merchandise.
Well, yes, no, yeah, merchandise and because it looks cool.
Yes, it does.
Also,
she was floating. She's doing the Doctor Strange thing. That was great.
Oh yeah, I love how she like how she looks and how her magic acts has become more closer to Doctor Strange-esque feeling.
Yeah.
I'm talking about body movements. I'm not talking about how the magic looks, because his is very
Yes.
articulate and
Orange.
uniform, while hers is very
It's
it's
chaotic.
yeah, it's emotional looking. Shut the fuck up, you chaos of an ass.
My ass is full of chaos.
You
That's
chaotic neutral bitch.
You're implying I'm a chaotic neutral.
Also,
Because you are.
I forgot to bring it up before the post-credit scene talk, but I've been saying the whole time Mephisto didn't make sense in this show. And everybody was like pointing at everything, like
Mephisto!
the pot of flowers, and saying that was Mephisto and the bunny rabbit and whoever else. And it turns out I was right, and I have it recorded for the first time ever. Suck it!
Oh, and Ralph, Ralph is just the fake Quicksilver.
Boner joke. Honestly, I love
Ralph
that.
Boner. Part of Boner.
I like how the past like 2 episodes are almost trolling the people that are more invested in the Easter eggs and references instead of like the actual the show and the journey that they're going on. Is. You know, I mean, part of it is like, did you have to use him? You probably didn't need to, but, you know, whatever. But the boner joke was absolutely hysterical. I died. But you were wrong on something else that you were pretty on board with, I believe it was last week?
The guest appearance that isn't Paul Bettany playing with himself?
No, that Dottie was going to be somebody else. The actress intentionally came out, I think it was like 2 days ago, came out, basically since the finale came out and said, hey, it was supposed to be a red herring, and it was a red herring. Because you're like, no, that blonde lady from the second episode.
She straight up disappeared after the second episode.
Yeah, and then we
saw... third episode.
Yeah, I think it was the...
Yeah, because we saw her in the third episode.
Second one, and then the third one, and then she had a half blink cameo in 6 or 7? Whatever. Near the end. There was her, and then it was her trimming the roses or whatever.
Dude, just imagine, so, like, her kid's still in the bedroom. Imagine how, like, malnourished that kid is. That's what I was thinking about during this. Like, all these people that are stuck, like, in place or whatever, they're probably malnourished as Or her magic is doing enough where she's actually sustaining their bodies.
It's probably that one. Yeah. Just for the sake of not super morbid.
I like thinking morbid. I like the malnourished idea.
I did like the fact that Westview was just, like, crowding around her. We're just like, could you just go?
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact that it wasn't like, oh yay, peaceful, happy resolution. They're like, no, could you get the fuck out?
I also saw a theory online today, I think, saying that Boner was possibly the missing person.
No, he was. Monica picked up a piece of paper
and said
that was
missing.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes. So that fixes that makes the Ralph thing. I feel like the age gap between those two is bigger than it would be, but it doesn't really matter.
What two?
It just between Ralph and Agatha. Like, it doesn't matter. I was just like, that's Ralph. Okay, whatever. So I guess the Ralph joke was just like the internal, the show narrative. It wasn't relevant to the external thing.
No, it didn't. No.
It just happened to be the thing that brought them there. Like, she has no relation to this person outside of the internal fake narrative.
Yep.
Which is fine. It was just
another
red herring, which is cool. Do we have anything else?
Nope. Absolutely loved it. We'll probably watch the episode again.
Do you have any idea about the 2 witches at the end? The 2 Scarlet Witches at the end?
Oh.
Because I derailed us.
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen it once, and I do want to go back and watch that again. Yep. Like, my gut was like, she's astral projecting. And then I'm like, but no, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't look like it. That's clearly not it.
Also, the one that was reading the evil book looked way darker.
Yes.
Like, there's no more words I have to describe it, but she was, like, in shadow and was, like...
She kind of looks transparent.
Almost want to say, like, an evil version or something. Like...
I feel like that is the direct setup for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think we're going to go back to that cabin at the beginning of that movie, is what my gut says.
I think that she is looking through how to bring her kids back.
Probably.
And sustain them.
Because we hear them crying out at the...
Yes.
Last second.
That was a bit weird. I'm like, but they don't exist though. So is she gonna go in the multiverse and go find some reality where she had kids because she a robot? Probably where we're gonna go.
You are so hung up on them doing it.
Because it's funny. He's a walking vibrator. Who wants to open up with what they've been doing?
I'll go first. So recently I finished Evangelion Book 3.
Ooh.
And I don't think I really have much to say about it other than it's going where the anime did. I really love the artist. So the manga is very close to the anime, which is expected because the writer is doing this right after he finished the anime. I love the writer's notes where he talks about his life and such, and and how it's involved with Evangelion, and there's a lot of that in these books, which is really nice. But it's good. I'm taking a break from Evangelion, and I started a new one, which I'll talk my next turn.
Nice.
So not really much to say about Evangelion. Nice. I feel like I've talked it to death.
Well, maybe a little bit, but such is life. So, Mr. Meme Man over there, Mr. Funny, don't you dare!
I'll pull your leg hair out.
Could we not have a repeat of that? That was 6 months ago.
Yeah, anniversary.
So, Jacob, what have you been doing?
I read the 2015 Darth Vader run.
Oh!
Written by Kieran Gillen.
The whole thing?
The first 20 of 25 books. Nice. I was so freaking close.
Nice.
I was working really hard. But also, there was a crossover event in the middle, and I blame that.
That was the...
I hate when that happens.
That was Vader Down, right?
Yes.
I did like that one. That was pretty solid.
It was very good. It's good.
It's good.
I have notes. Hang on. Thankfully, I wrote notes. Otherwise, I'd have been out of luck.
Lightsaber.
It kind of lives in its own epicness just a little bit too much. There's quite often where Vader will cause an explosion, and then they show him causing it, and then the next frame is him turned away from it as it's exploding behind him.
Of course.
He is such a drama king.
Yes.
He is.
You are all dead men. That's such a good panel, though.
He does not sit down. He stands up while he's in a speeder.
Yes.
This is a crossover done well. There were six issues, and it came with a checklist in every single book that provided a check mark after you finished the issue. So it helped you follow where you were supposed to go next, and it was well laid out.
Nice.
I really liked it. But this also helped me realize that crossover events kind of suck. They weaken a comic's story because it relies on the reader buying other books from other series to tell a story instead of just buying the one comic line. So it's a shameless plug for, hey, we make these other lines too, pay us more money. It's like, no, piss off. I want the Darth Vader story.
I agree with you a lot on that, actually, now that I think about it, because even though the events, I think in particular the Star Wars events have been done really well, you don't have to connect all the runs that much.
Right.
It is okay if they're just not, and even if you want to have them cross over, have it when, the writers transition, when you have a new creative team come in, then you could do crossovers then, because it makes more sense, versus in the middle, if you have, an omnibus or whatever, and then you have 1 through 25, and then 26, 27, 28, and 29 are part of a crossover, so that's in a trade collected with the other lines.
Yep.
And then the omnibus jumps back to 30 and then just continues. It's well, this is weird. I think you're really right on that.
Thank you.
I agree.
The story starts by demoting Vader, saying he wasn't powerful enough, and then in the crossover, he's wrecking an entire planet with the Force, just pulling ships down and smashing them together, and it's like a kid in a toy box. And it's like...
Smashy smash.
It was inconsistent in its themes in that regard.
But the Force does what it wants.
Shut up.
Dr. Aphra is a kind of bounty hunter / thief that works for Vader. Just when I thought it was getting old, he's got her kind of held at gunpoint figuratively and says, you're going to work for me until you mess up and then I'm going to kill you. And she's like, okay, cool. So just when I was thinking that dynamic was getting old, that she was working for him out of fear, she was like, hey, this is getting old and I've proven for you time and time again that I want to work for you. So can we stop with the threats? And I was like, well done.
Yeah. She's a really cool character in terms of bringing in an entirely she's only in the comics.
Yeah, she needs to be canonized.
She's got a so far.
Whatever.
At some point,
she needs to be in a show or movie or something.
I think there's rumors that she might be in one of the animated shows.
Please.
That'd be sick.
I
like
how
she's
that makes
basically
sense.
she's basically Indiana Jones,
Yep.
but in Star Wars and like a little bit more evil.
And a little bit cyberpunky because she can hack and stuff. But
Yes, I love her droids. They're so
That's
just
my
evil,
next point.
Ooh, okay.
So the her droids were annoying at first because they look and kind of work together a lot like C-3PO and R2-D2. They're like shaped the same and kind of behave the same, but they got a lot better because they are evil versions. R2-D2's copy is loaded with weapons, kind of like Rocket Raccoon, like absolutely ridiculous freaking cannons coming out of this little trash can. And
He is a trash can.
You're a trash can.
I'm the trash man.
the
Excuse you.
C-3PO version is all about torturing people and like cutting and filleting and bleeding and
Nice.
like human pain makes this droid delight.
So weird.
So it is
Kinky.
comic relief, but I kind of it was a guilty pleasure, I guess.
It's the DC Dark Multiverse version of C-3PO.
I'm waiting for you to talk about your talking point.
Yeah, talk about bitch.
I'm gonna talk about some weeb shit.
You blinked first.
Whoa, some weeb shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break from some weeb shit because I have not enjoyed my time with weeb shit.
He read my weep first.
So
I know.
I read Ghost in the Shell 2.0,
I
which
got
is
better weeb shit than that. Than you.
well, no, duh. Man-Machine Interface, which was published in 1997. The art is really, really low quality compared to the first one and 1.5. Even though 1.5 was released during the same time period as 2. Part of me understands the overall direction. Like I kind of get where I was going. I like the idea. I understand the it's like hyping up the aspects of the first book that I found, the ones I found more interesting, the more philosophical elements, which I think the anime does a much better job at going into. So it just cranks that up to 15, but then it bleeds into the art way too much. So the art is hard to interpret, and it just bleh.
Also, it suffers from the same problem that The Dark Knight Strikes Again has, where it looks like somebody was trying to figure out how to use Windows Paint in like 2001.
Yeah, you're very right. It's really rough to look at. So if you have a, generally speaking, if you have a messy, like very all over the place story, even if that's intentional, having clearer art isn't a bad idea. Versus if you have, a really nice, clean story, you can have weird, crazy art. If you have both, if you have both being stupidly simple, it's boring. If you have both being overly complicated, it can be an absolute wreck. Art like Arkham Asylum, the book, was originally going to have some really clean art because the story is bonkers and all over the place. I think it's a miracle that the book makes any sense at all because they're both barely coherent intentionally. So it doesn't.
That's why I appreciated your copy of the book has the script at the back, because that helped me understand it so much.
Yeah, so
I still need to read that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I appreciate the higher ideas, but the execution is just so dog shit awful the entire time. I swear this dude was on acid the whole time. It's just trash. Like, no. No, I'm never touching this again. I will go back to the first book. I'll find a decent copy. That was nice. Even though it was a bit difficult. Like, just the worthless piece of shit.
Mommy milkers.
So now he understands all my comments about wanting to take a shit on it and then light it on fire.
Yeah.
I don't want to read this book.
Don't. What else have you been doing?
So I actually started reading Jujutsu Kaisen. I started with the prequel, Zero. I didn't know where to really start because I saw Zero and it didn't make sense. I looked in the back and it showed some characters for reference, and because some people get confused about which character's which. That can happen a lot more in black and white.
Yeah.
Because some of the characters wear the same things because they're basically sorcerers. It's like a high school for sorcerers, but it's surprisingly...
Hasn't he used this exact same sentence to describe like 4 things he's read in the past couple of months?
Maybe.
No, high school, yes. But it's surprisingly not like Harry Potter or like Naruto, like people like to say it is. It's not at all. First off, when they're in a fight, they don't wait for each other. Like, some of the main characters, like the good guys, gang up on one of the big baddies because he's like, oh, I'm about to use mine, and he gets interrupted and gets smashed in the face with a fist, and they're fighting him back and forth, and the dude like can barely like hold himself up, or like his arms are flailing, and it's like the best thing ever. But this prequel I wasn't too sure about, but it turned out to be really good because the story is about there's this high school kid, and he has a curse on him. And curses are the negative emotions of people built up, and they can form and become a curse. In other sense, they can become like demons.
Yeah.
Because heaven and hell kind of don't exist in this universe. So besides that, schools are usually outrun with like curses. Hospitals and schools, basically where there's a lot of negative emotions.
Children.
Yep. And every school secretly has a this like curse totem, which downgrades curses.
Nice.
And that's going to be relevant for the regular Jujutsu Kaisen when I talk about
boost.
it. So with the Jujutsu Kaisen 0, it has this kid. He is bound with a curse of a childhood friend. When they were children, they were really close, and she gave him an engagement ring and said, when we get older, we'll get married. And he's like, okay.
What
and
are you, straight?
2 panels later, she dies from a car accident.
Typical.
Her head is smashed.
Typical
And it's just
women.
her body on the ground. And you guys. Typical women getting their head smashed.
Mine was not meant like that. Mine was like thinking the Bond wife dies in a car crash right after he says, let's get married. And
Oh my word. But these are kids.
it's like, well, whatever.
I was thinking
Yeah.
more about fridging, but that works too.
And oh my gosh. So back to what I'm saying about
Kyle
this.
Rayner, don't open that fridge.
I don't know what fridging is. I don't
That's
think
where
I wanna know.
Kyle Rayner's girlfriend got mutilated and shoved in a fridge. That's where the love interest being used as a plot device, basically just dying or getting injured for the sake of moving the plot thing came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's what I meant by typical. And then
Okay.
he made it typical women. And I was like, ooh.
well, misogynist here. Back to the story at hand. She basically became a curse, and whenever something like someone's going to harm him or anything bad happens to him, she comes out and he can't control her, and she's killed like a shit ton of high school kids while he's in high school because they were bullying him.
Nice.
And so one of the head professors of Jujutsu Kaisen was going to exorcise him / execute him.
Oof.
And he saw he saw that, oh, this curse is strong. We could probably use it. And so they got his execution, the day got pushed. So the day got pushed for his execution. And they're like, well, we're still going to execute him after. And the professor's like, maybe. Because the professor is, of course, he is the OP. He's the OP relief. He's the overpowered relief. Back to the story. He in this, he learns how to channel his cursed energy into a cursed weapon, and which is a katana. And that's where I am so far in the story. I'm really liking it. You'll like Jujutsu Kaisen, actually.
It sounds like it. It sounds dark and mildly morbid.
There's like no horny. I mean, there's like,
Yes.
oh, this woman's attractive, but there's no like horny, except for guys. There's this one character that's like, you meet him and he's like, what's your kind of taste in women? And they're like, they say something, and if
That's how you open up a conversation.
and if they
Usually
say
how I
something
start a
boring,
conversation.
What's your fetish, good sir?
and someone says something boring to him, he starts crying. He's like, I knew it. You were a boring man. And he's like, we must fight. And then they go on a fight because he has a boring taste in women. What the yes. See, it's stuff like
That's
that
weird.
where it's funny horny.
That's very weird. Jacob, what else have you been up to?
Well, I just realized I should have explained a little bit more about what Vader was set in the story. It's set in right after episode 4, and he is chasing down Luke Skywalker and has gone on a bunch of adventures that isn't chasing down Luke Skywalker. So I'm waiting to see how that wraps up. The other thing I was doing
Do you think
this
he's
week...
going to catch and kill Luke Skywalker by the time that's done?
I hope not.
I don't... Sheesh, if only I'd seen the movies. I would know. Anyway, I didn't finish the other book that I was going to talk about, which I'm very upset about because it's not very exciting. So I was really hoping to get it out of the way. But I did watch a terrible, awful, no good horror movie that I know you guys would love to hear about.
Okay, let's hear it.
Using a VPN.
Which you're well known for.
ExpressVPN, if you would love to sponsor us, we would love to utilize your service for free.
Or NordVPN, because that's the one I'm using right now.
Or Surfshark.
Ooh, I've never heard of that one.
All of them.
How exciting. Anyway,
Yar.
the service I watched it on is called the movie Paradise Lost, but that does not pull up on the internet search. It is named Turistas, Turistas.
Sounds like an STD.
It came out in 2006. It is rated R. It is 1 hour and 33 minutes long, starring Josh Duhamel and Olivia Wilde, and that's pretty much it. No, actually, there's a lot of other people in it. Don't get excited. This movie sucks. It's awful. It's a bunch of young, stupid people going on vacation in Brazil, where they get absolutely wasted and they're doing each other, which means, per the rules of horror movies, anybody who has sex or drinks or does drugs dies. So you can imagine how this movie turns out.
They kill the killer, and they all live.
The Brazilians serving them drug them so that they really don't know what's going on, and they all wake up on the beach and realize that they've had everything stolen from them, and they have to figure out how to get home, and they're led to some crazy psycho's house where he captures or kidnaps them or whatever and is chopping them all up to sell their body parts for money.
Yummy.
And then they try to escape, but mostly don't. So yeah.
It sounds like
It was
Texas Chainsaw, kinda? A little bit?
Not really. It was just awful.
Nice.
I don't really
So
have...
every Texas Chainsaw, that is not the first one.
Somebody compared it to Hostel, but I don't know. I haven't seen it.
You know what's a good horror/thriller you should watch?
I
I don't know if you'd say it's good. No.
But I loved it.
I liked it.
I loved it.
I loved 2.
I didn't love 2, but 2 was fine. 2 was good.
I loved Scary Lady. Anyway, I really liked The Ritual. It's on Netflix.
I have not seen that one. I was going to do Conjuring next.
No.
But I'm not huge on spiritual horror, like demonic possession
This is
stuff,
like Norse mythology a little bit.
That sounds like fun.
It's actually really cool. Like, really good. I remember after leaving Abby's house, I was terrified of the woods.
You said
And it was dark.
What was it again?
The Ritual.
Ritual.
Yep. It's really good.
I mean, aren't we all kind of petrified of the woods when it's the middle of the night and it's dark?
No.
Yes.
Jacob, shut up, you adult.
Okay. Are you going to do your second topic?
I don't know if you're done!
I'm done.
You're giving me no transition, so I don't...
Transition.
Trans rights!
Oof. What are you implying here?
Just a transition. Okay.
So I read Tales from the DC Dark Multiverse, which Jacob read a few months ago, so I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail about each individual story. So it's a 5-issue miniseries, which was published in 2020. So there are 5 different classic or somewhat well-known DC stories, mostly Batman, because duh.
Of course.
But the thing I really did like about this book in particular is that a lot less of it is Batman than most of Metal, which is obviously Batman focused. I like how this continues the concept of the DC Dark Multiverse, thinking of like the dark underbelly, but like it's the ocean, and the normal multiverse is like this, like a leaf on top of it. Like there's so many infinite possibilities of absolute insanity.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Just going over, I did not read the original issues that came with it because
You whore.
I've read those stories before, and Jacob mentioned that some of them weren't too super relevant to because this is taking some of these stories like this. It's a basically a cover of Infinite Crisis
Blackest Night and Infinite Crisis
are events. Like,
are
huge.
So the included ones had nothing to do with what happened.
Yeah, like you can't. It finds a way to condense the story down for the new version, but like it does. You can't include the whole Blackest Night omnibus for this one issue. So Nightfall had really good writing. I did like the art. It was very metal. I remember when you were describing it, I was not very interested. I don't know if it was just the way that you described it or whatever. I was like, it felt weird. But then I read it and I'm like, I like this. Mm-hmm. I think it was because there were certain things you didn't spoil, which make a lot more sense.
Thank you.
So impressive. You didn't even allude that you weren't saying things, which is cool. Death of Superman, I really
That's
like.
because I'm stupid and I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
I thought Death of Superman was my favorite one out of all of this.
What are these spoilers you're talking about?
You just love talking about... You just love when Superman dies.
So Death of Superman I really liked the redesign for Lois Lane of having like the black suit, but with the tattered Superman cape. It visually looks really, really good. The writing I thought was The writing was extremely on point. I thought the dialogue was done really well. It's also just Lois Lane goes and murders a shit ton of people, so that's fun. But I really like how at the end it's like, yeah, and he's back, and she's completely and utterly defeated the purpose of what Superman's supposed to be, and he's like, what the fuck did you do? And then he dies again. It's like, that hurts. Infinite Crisis was way easier to understand in this version, obviously it's very, very different, but like, I found it impressive how much they were able to condense down into the one issue. I thought it was a well-done line of logic, but it's just not a lot of characters I usually have a lot of interest in, which is more just the stuff I haven't read a lot of. I have nothing against, Blue Beetle, and Booster Gold's not in that, but like, those guys in particular, but like other characters in that area, I have nothing against. I just haven't read a lot of them. So it
was a good idea.
Yeah, I did enjoy it by the end of it. Judas Contract.
Couldn't end fast enough for me.
I have mixed feelings on the original Judas Contract story in the first place. It is a really good Titan story, but this thing was so hard to get through because the accent was written so obnoxiously. I wanted to rip the page out of the book. Like, reading through the dialogue was atrocious. And the story it vaguely made sense, but that's about it.
I usually get annoyed with when they write characters having like accents. Like, you have to read the accent.
Yeah, like you can write it in a certain way, but this is like it's hyper like phonetic. Like it's so obnoxious. Her accent was present in the original story anyway, but it just, by the end of it, it's like, can someone just kill this bitch? Can someone just kill this bitch? Can someone just kill this bitch? Because I'm getting so tired of reading this. I did like how the Titans still had really good chemistry when it wasn't Terra, basically. But like the rest of them, I still thought it felt very similar to the original Judas Contract in that sense. And then the book as a whole, I really like the expanded scope of characters in comparison to just Batman stuff. I like the framing device, as this is kind of set up for death metal. It's one of the many, many elements that leads up to death metal.
Elements.
Colin has no idea what we're talking about. But, are you sure you know?
Probably.
You know what death metal is?
What, say that again? Never mind. Going on.
I enjoyed this. It was, it's like the middle of all the metal books. It's not as good as like the really good ones, but it's definitely not as bad as the rougher ones. It was enjoyable. It's clearly not part of the main event, and it's not marketed as such. So it's
cool. A fun distraction from the event.
Yeah, pretty much. Does anyone have anything else?
Nope.
Yes. I would like to thank Business Casual and Jeff Lawrence for funding this week's episode alongside Jetpack Comics, who are our official partners. I was there. Nope. I was going to say recently, but it's like I've been gone for so long.
It's okay.
I want to go back to my home and store and stuff. I got books I got to pre-order through them.
Literally just send them an email.
I know. I just haven't gotten around to it.
You can probably even do it over the phone. Maybe, I don't
know.
Email is going to be the easiest way to do it.
Also, I wanted to thank our partners at Jetpack Comic for partnering with us and being partners and doing partnery things.
We're married.
Yes, but not officially. We're only lifetime partners.
We're only engaged right now.
It's a
Right.
civil union.
Right. Anyway, you can find our lifetime partner at downtown. What's that place? Rochester.
There you go.
Wow. I was trying to
My
think
hometown.
I was trying to think of the name of the street, and it wasn't
Main
coming.
Street.
Was it really Main Street?
It's Main Street.
Main Street.
For some reason, I was thinking Congress Street, but that's in Portland, so
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing, and yet I sit in front of a microphone and talk.
That's the definition of this job.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
our life.
So anyway,
Welcome aboard.
thank you. It's fun to be here. I'm glad you invited me to do this with you.
Oh yeah.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, you can find us on all audio platforms. Clearly, you're listening somewhere, so that's cool. We're also on YouTube. If you could drop interaction on whatever platform you're using, thumbs up, like, subscribe, all the things, it's appreciated. Interaction helps in more capacities than you'd think.
If you care to, give us your opinion on the end credit of the two Wandas in the comments below.
Nice.
Except on Spotify, because they don't allow comments.
I'm talking
is
about YouTube.
Okay.
I'm talking about YouTube.
Also,
Please never do that again.
Apple iTunes allows
Does it?
comments.
Does
That's
it?
weird.
I believe so.
Damn.
That's weird. You can also find our website at dimecomicbros.podbean.com. I'm going to upgrade our website sometime in the near future.
We've heard that one before.
Like last week, because that's the first time I mentioned it. Smart ass.
Thank you.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for various things. Twitter, there's some shit posting going on. There's some news updates, some stuff that we don't end up covering all the time. Instagram's got some pretty stuff, some teaser images. Whenever Colin does stuff, it goes on there, the way it do. You can also become a patron, like our two wonderful patrons. If you want to go to patreon.com/dimecomicbros.
Stop whispering. The mic can hear you.
On our Patreon, you can find lots of different tiers with different benefits, like getting stickers, getting social media follows, because you can buy clout. That's how social media works these days. As well as getting some commissioned art and so on, voting on topics, blah, 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 all the fun things. Give us money, please.
Are you announcing the new sticker?
I already did that. It's already out. It's been out there for a while.
All right, fine.
Yeah, I already put it right there.
Well, you only told me about it this morning, so...
I told you guys about that last week when I said I was
Yeah,
gonna
you
order.
said you were going to, and I was like, that's not a good idea. We should try to save more money, but...
And then he just did it.
Send it.
You guys are the ones who always want the stickers.
Yeah, I love stickers, but
He's the one that wants the stickers.
it doesn't
I'm literally
pay
fine with not
if you're
doing
just
any
giving
more
me
stuff.
stickers for free. We need people to buy stickers. What were you going to say?
I think that was all I had.
Thank you for listening.
What are we covering next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about Batman Haunted Night by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Spooky Batman stuff.
I haven't actually read that one.
Me
Nice.
either.
Oh, you guys are going to freaking love it. And it's also shorter, so
It's the
that's a win.
prequel to Long Halloween, correct?
Yeah. It's three short stories that take place technically before the Long Halloween. It was published in the same time as Dark Victory.
Okay.
It's kind of like Ghost in the Shell in terms of publishing strategy, now that I think about it. I don't like that. I don't like that fact at all.
It'll be easier.
Phone call. You could just make sure the settings are all working.
Because we are the three nude news dudes.
The three newsies. The three nude dude news.
News.
The three
dudes. Nude.
9
Nude.
legs. That's all you need to know.
News.
3 9 legs and the 9-tailed fox.
You're
The nine-
That's an awfully hot coffee pot.
Oh my god. Could we not?
Intertwined 9 legs. Anyway.
Interlinked.
This is Dump Truck City, not Graham Central Station. Jeez.
Oh, I
Oh.
see how it is.
Yes.
You big titty goth girlfriend you are.
I'm talking about ass, you dumb dumb.
And I'm talking about big titty goth girlfriends.
Speak for yourself.
He can say
That's
that,
you.
but he can't say 3 nudes.
3 nudes. 3 9-tailed fox. And
The fish.
yeah, just
Oh, you want the fish?
I want
Yeah,
the
fish.
fish.
You can't eat the fish.
Yeah, you can eat the fish.
I can eat the fish.
It'll crunch.
That's true. You wait, fat man.
Shut the f***
I'm a fat
You're
man
the one
too.
f***ing snorting pre-workout and not working out.
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I gotta pop my booty a little bit more next time I go to Jetpack.
Yeah, you did. That was a pretty lame booty pop.
Yeah, it was. I was insecure. Sorry.
No duh.